somebody up for the ultimate fact check. The ultimate fact check on Laurel Lee. You know, though many of you already know her, let me call up and introduce to you Pat Kemp. Pat, as you know, is a former Hillsborough County Commissioner who was term limited out of her countywide seat in the 2024 election. She was recruited by the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Committee, to run for election to Congress against Laurel Lee. And she did. And, you know, she made us really, really proud. Yes. Although the race was not successful, Pat developed very deep and wide understanding of the needs and the priorities of this congressional district and of the failures of Laurel Lee to meet them. So, ladies and gentlemen, Pat Kemp.
Thank you. And I'll just say, this has been awesomely organized. It is great to see this. Than what has been up here tonight. I mean, it's just impossible. And so it's just, I mean, I find it personally inspiring, and thank you all. And thanks for setting this up. This has just been so well organized. And what's funny is that in my campaign, I was kind of contacted and drafted at the last minute when I found out no one else was going to be running in that seat against Laurel Lee. And I thought we needed to have someone. I thought there were other people lined up, and it didn't happen to be. So pretty much at the last minute, not very much before filing was required, I didn't even know that people were running for every congressional seat and every House and Senate seat in Florida, but I agreed to do this. So I was in the campaign for about 6 months, and actually, that's pretty much what I got the entire campaign. She did not show up anywhere. There were not forums, there were not debates. There was one time when I went to the Plant City Chamber of Commerce, and we each got to speak 3 minutes. We weren't debating, we were along with a line of candidates, and we each spoke for 3 minutes. She refused several debates. One that we were supposed to have, a hurricane came. So since she lucked out, that got canceled. And the only, not even the papers were covering the race. I mean, it was pretty incredible. The Lakeland Ledger actually did an excellent article between the two of us, comparing our views and everything. The same thing never happened in the Tampa Bay Times in terms of where anyone stood on it. There was very little. There was some, television. But I had to kind of go refresh my memory, and I'll try and go through it fast. I did an excellent job. But I just want to share with you a few things about Laurel Lee. We can prep you here and give you some background. But and one of the things I thought maybe we were going to show tonight, I wasn't sure. I kind of left the information. But there was one time with Laurel Lee that there were very few times that she got up on the floor, but one of the times that she got up in Congress proudly to cheer on and do this bill that we all needed. Does anyone in this room know what she passionately argued for before Congress? Yes. Yeah, you got the Refrigerator Freedom Act. I'm not making that up. The Refrigerator Freedom Act, and we stopped the Unaffordable Dishwasher Act, and I'm not making these up. The Stop Unaffordable Dishwasher Act. I'm not making this up. You can go to YouTube and find it and watch it. It's about 1.5 minutes long, and it's better than anything on Saturday Night Live. Quite seriously, it's incredible. With that said, though, I should let you know this. As the hurricane struck, right after Helene, but before Milton,
she voted against.
Just days before Milton hit. In fact, she had left Washington coming here, and she voted against FEMA, and she voted against the continuing resolution to cover our needs through December 20th. She voted to have the government shut down. And by the way, this was not a thing that all the Republicans voted for. 57 of them did. And she did. She voted against FEMA even as she was headed here. And I was told this, and I was told I could say it, and I didn't even believe it. I swear to you that I went on myself and looked up the vote in Congress because I said, who in the world would do that? She's disqualified by virtue of doing that for this district. She did that. I'm sorry?
And she went out and she criticized FEMA after the storm.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. And she didn't show up very many places either. And I can tell you during the entire campaign she didn't show up. She didn't have town halls. And when that happened, she wasn't going out places either. And wasn't being held accountable for doing that. It's just.
Pat, she showed up here.
The other thing that she refused to speak about is what was happening with abortion here. She never, ever, and I know Alan Cohen knows this too because he tried to hold her accountable on this. She never spoke to Amendment 4 and what she would do about it or anything, or how she would vote. She would never speak to it, and she never got her feet held to the fire. She was never asked for accountability about that. She voted with the others there, that was like majority Republican, against the agriculture funding and to cut school lunches. I'll let you know that. At the time, within the last session. She also voted and said one of her issues was providing enough reliable fuel for fossil fuels and for gas-powered vehicles. That's what we needed. So she was very adamant about that being strongly what she needed to do.
It's about renewable energy today.
Yeah. To do what? Sell Teslas?
Oh, God. The only thing I would like to let you know is a couple things. Is that in terms of, because today, Social Security, Medicare, what we're hearing about, and what could happen, is that even right now, in the U.S., 66% of all bankruptcies, and I just looked this up, this was Pew Research, true facts, not fake news, 66 of all bankruptcies in the U.S. are medical bankruptcies. Every year, 550,000 people in America go bankrupt due to medical causes. That's what we have right now. And you know how many there are in Canada, in Germany, France? Zero. Zero in every other nation in the world. They don't have such a thing. We have that.
They all figured it out, but we can't.
Right, and they figured it out for 1/3 the cost of ours per person. And they have longer lifespans. Go figure. And the other thing I wanted to, let's see what I wanted, to make sure you knew about, I thought this was very interesting. Just recently, some of you might have been there, Martin O'Malley came to Tampa, and I was in the room down south, in Ybor City, at the church there, listening to him speak. He came last week. He used to lead the Social Security Administration. He said a lot of interesting things about what was going on there, keeping up on it. But one thing he said, they put up a slide, and I couldn't get a clear picture, but I'm looking for it, and I thought it was really interesting. He showed how much the administrative expenses were for different insurance companies, national insurance companies, compared to the Social Security Administration. Liberty Mutual spends 23.6% on administrative expenses. Allstate spends 19.4% on administrative expenses. The Social Security Administration spends 1.2% on administrative expenses. Wow. So we're not doing the cuts. And by the way, instead of Doge, I got this from someone else. I call it Doggy. The Doggy department is not doing, as we all know, is not doing what they should be doing. And I just thank you all, because we're going to be together and we are going to push this country in another direction, because they're going to hear from every one of your stories. And it's so wonderful that you spoke. And again, so wonderful to have this. And this was her modus operandi. The last time, this is what she does. She's not here, so I'm sure you'll be able to have many more without her present, because she won't come.